All right, guys, it's Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. It is time for another Conversations with Commodores, and we have got a talented Rob D is with us. Robert Davis, how you doing tonight, Robert?
I'm great, B. I'm great, man. How you doing?
I'm doing so well. I'm so glad to have you on here. I know you and I have not previously connected. We missed each other by 1 year at school, but we've just been talking about a little bit of good times from the past. Robert, our very first Commodore to sign on is none other than A.O.K. Aristotle Kirkland.
What's up, Cat?
Commissioner Cat.
Commissioner Cat.
Rob, how come you didn't end up at Tennessee, Memphis State, Kentucky, Bama? How'd you end up at Vanderbilt?
You know, it was I have to say Ron Case and Watson Brown. The main man would say Ron Case. I've been recruited by pretty much various schools, SEC, ACC, as well out west, as well as Pac-12 schools also. But it was Ron Case who came to me, spoke to me, who was real, genuine, and that's how I ended up at Vanderbilt.
And Coach Case was your position coach when you got to school?
Yes, he was. And believe it or not, he was at Ole Miss before he came to Vanderbilt. So he was recruiting me at Ole Miss. And then when he came to Vanderbilt, you know, it just kept going on that end.
Well, talent recognizes talent, and he knew he needed to have you wherever he was. So that's a big. Oh, we got Daryl Griffin in the house. He said, "What's up?"
What's up, D. Griffin?
We got Jim Cunningham. Thank you, fellas. We got some more guys rolling through.
All right.
Rob, did you ever really consider Ole Miss or any of these other schools? Because I know you had your choice back in the day and celebrated as you were coming out of school.
You know, it came down to Georgia Tech or Vanderbilt.
Really?
Georgia Tech, that 90 year, that's the year they was the co-champs with Colorado.
Yeah.
So so it came down to Georgia Tech. And when I took my last visit with Vandy, it was Kenny Puss and Brad Gaines, my host, those two crazy guys right there. And once after the visit, I called down to Georgia Tech, told them I was ready to commit, and they made an offer right then and there. But just told them I'm okay. Coach Case just sealed the deal. You know, at that time, I forgot the coordinator at Georgia Tech was his name, but when I met with him, I just didn't feel connected to him, and then also just the scheme that they was trying to run and what they were doing, the freshmen coming in, I didn't get a good feel about it as well.
Well, clearly academics were part of your decision making. Georgia Tech and Vanderbilt, two of the finer Power Five academic schools. That had to have been a little bit of the consideration, I assume.
Yeah, definitely that. And also, you know, my mom was a former teacher, retired teacher, educator, and her sisters and uncles are educators. And also my mother's from Georgia as well. So have family in Atlanta. So that right there been like also a little homecoming. But overall, just coming out of those two schools, I want to stay close to home. So family come see me play. And also it's just being in the SEC too, just growing up here in Nashville, you know, that's all that breeded SEC football. We're here in the South all together. And that was just a big factor also.
Well, Patrick Fitz says, "What's up, Robert Earl?"
What's up, P. Fitz?
And we've got the mayor of Murfreesboro, Joe Peebles.
Joe P.
You got a bunch of Commodores in here, Rob. But let's talk about Whites Creek. Whites Creek put out some athletes over the years. You already mentioned another one that came to Vanderbilt. Who else from your high school?
You know, Kenny Puff led the way. You know, at the start of a KP, man, he was something else. He actually played with my cousin, my older cousin at Whites Creek, and then him leading the way. Then next thing you know, here I come.
Mhm.
And I had to tag Shelton and bring him along with me on
That's
that
right.
day right there.
That's right.
So believe it or not, I think Shelton actually was either going to West Kentucky or MTSU. And then I ended up talking to Case. And I'm like, hey, you need to check this guy out over this way. And next thing you know, here comes Shelton right there.
Well, Rob D with the assist on that recruitment, that's for sure. And Kenny was in my recruiting class. We were in Watson's 86 recruiting class, that's for sure.
Oh man.
Oh, come on, Joe. You're gonna have to stop this. He says Oakland rules the creek any day.
Hey, Joe never came across us when he was there.
That's right. That's right. You just hide behind that keyboard there, Joe P. You just hide. You keyboard warrior tonight. Guys, I got Robert Davis out of Whites Creek. He played 90 to 93 with the Commodores, then went on to several years in different professional leagues. But before we get to that, Rob, let's talk about some of your early influences. Who, from a sports perspective, did you try to pattern your game, or did you really like when you were a child and growing up, coming up through the high school ranks?
Believe it or not, I started playing football when I was 5 years old.
Mhm.
I always played with a older age group. I started 5, played with the 7 to 8 year olds per se. But I just modeled off my cousin and my brother. I was at the park while they was practicing. I'm just playing around. And one day I just stopped and started paying attention to what they was doing. And then that's when I went and asked my parents if I could play football. Of course, I was a late bloomer, small 5 years old, not weighing a lot, of course. And then the shortest thing out there, but I kept begging, and my dad finally let me play. But he always instilled in me that, hey, once you start something, you have to finish it. Not gonna let you quit it. And if you don't like it, once you're done with it, then you don't have to do it again. But started playing, started with my cousin. He played at White Creek as well with KP. He was a running back in the corner at White Creek. My brother was a defensive end at White Creek. My cousin, he ended up going to MTSU. He played with Boots. Then from there, just as I got to start just playing ball, getting into it, just some coaches of mine along the way. My best friend, actually, a guy named Tracy Davidson, his dad was a big influence in me, one of my little league coaches. Also, a guy named Corey Allen. Corey Allen, actually, he played. He's a basketball guy, but his dad sponsored a team and played on his team. And Corey dad and Corey there. Corey went on to play basketball at the University of Tennessee.
Mhm.
But just my influence, so playing ball, started playing running back. I thought I'd be on the offensive side of the ball. My favorite player was Tony Dorsett growing up. Yeah. And then from that point, just playing offense, then just of course, you playing a running back, put me on the defense side of the ball, and started playing defensive back, and then just coming through White Creek when you have all the older guys. White Creek is historic. I mean, that's like growing up. It's like a mini Tennessee State, back in the day. So just coming through there, and the older guys who played before me, just those guys alone, just set that tradition, that pride, and just coming through there, and that's was my influence.
A lot to look up to, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's one thing. You in junior high school, you go into those high school games, and you just see and can't wait till you get up there and make your mark.
You were
So
making your
that was
mark, Rob. There's no telling how many kids that they looked up to you when you were coming through. I'm sure, and I know you did your family proud back then.
Yeah.
But I got a quick Tony Dorsett story for you that I still shake my head. When I was like 9 or 10 years old, someone had given to my dad a football that was signed by Roger Staubach, Tony Hill, Tony Dorsett, and Randy White. Some of the greats,
Wow.
in the 70s.
Yes.
I didn't know that you're supposed to put that ball up on a shelf and admire it. We went out and played. That ball ended up in the storm drain, and we found how many months later. You couldn't read a single signature, but we like playing with the ball. So anyway, That's my
Yes, sir.
Tony
Hey,
Dorsey.
that was some money right there. Now,
Well, what did we know as Niner? We had a good football. It was leather Wilson football.
right, right.
Rob, what other sports did you play? Because I know that back in our day, you kind of played the sport of the season. Whatever you won't go from one sport to the next.
Mhm.
Were you one of those kind of kids?
Yeah, but believe it or not, I played my second love of baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So I had scholarships in baseball, playing baseball as well. And I played basketball, baseball, and I ran track in high school. Um, my baseball coach, the head coach, was my defensive back coach. And one day he put me to the side and he was just like, look, he said, I know you like football. You want to play football, but you really just think about baseball. And he was just saying that at that time, wasn't a lot of African American athletes in baseball during that time. And he was just saying, just with my ability, my skill set, the longevity in that path that you can take and go through. But Coach Malone, Pat Malone was his name, and he's since passed on. But great guy, great coach. He was another one of the influences at Whites Creek. But man, I playing baseball, then playing basketball. I was part of in high school. We was top 5 in the nation my junior and senior year.
Wow.
So actually, my junior year, we played Franklin High School in the state championship, and I think Kevin Anglin was on that team. He went going to Vanderbilt playing basketball. So those guys beat us. I think it was about 1 point. So those guys, we was top 5 in the nation. Then my senior year, actually my junior was 32-5. My senior year was 34-1.
Wow, that's
So
strong. That's strong.
yeah.
You know,
So
a lot of guys who excel in multiple sports, basketball is so quick. Football has a lot
mhm.
of action. But for a lot of guys, even if they excel in baseball, it's such a slow sport compared to the
Mhm.
other two. So it loses out a lot of interest because guys want to be part of that action. And I
Yeah.
didn't know
Yeah.
if ultimately that may have been part of your process, or just that football just found its way to the top for you because Vanderbilt and all these other schools had recruited you.
I think this football has found its way to the top, and then the success that we had in high school also. With baseball, high school wasn't great success. We won some games, but it was just more that again, just growing up, my influences being my cousin and my brother, and start up with football. Then they also got me started with baseball, but I think that football just won itself out.
Well, OJ Fleming says, or maybe I'm making this up and he didn't say it, but if you guys would have played his school, BGA,
Mhm.
back in the day, wouldn't have been a contest. I'm just saying.
they,
OJ
they, had,
didn't say
they had to
that,
come
but I
on
know
to
he's thinking that.
they had to come on to the big boy class.
That's right. That's right. Well, guys, I got Robert Davis, Rob D, coming out of Whites Creek High School, Kenny Pultz, Shelton Quarles. We had some awesome a pipeline right there. Those three coming through in the late 80s, early 90s. When you got to Vanderbilt and you got Coach Case as your coach and you got Watson Brown on his last year, did you know going into your freshman year where you would be in the depth chart? Did you think you'd be competing for some time? Did you think you'd be redshirted? What was the mindset? What did they communicated to you to get you onto campus?
I'll be competing for some time.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that coming in my freshman year. Just talking with Coach Case, what he saw in me, just sitting down and just with the depth that was currently they had at Vanderbilt at that time, and they just frankly told me, him and Watson, that they want the best athletes out there on the field and playing, and and my freshman coming in, hey, I just wanted to play ball, so it didn't matter whether I was redshirted or started. It was just one of the things that I knew coming in. It was a chance for me to compete, to get out there and play.
How far was your childhood home from campus?
Oh, it was probably about 10 minutes, 10 at the most, 15 minutes.
Did you live on campus with freshmen, or did you split time between the house and campus?
No, I stayed on campus the freshman. About the only time I went home was probably just to wash clothes. And some of the guys, will come with me. Actually, Nazam, Walter, and Derek Atterbury, who was real close in school there during the year.
Well, Rob, I was going to say it's probably a good break to get off of campus, just to kind of break up your routine, go home and see some folks at home, and just be back in familiar territory every once in a while. I guess that was probably a good thing to be that close, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, and then too, giving the new guys that come to the city, and when they go out and they come across people who knew me, and just get them was able to help them navigate as well, and those guys getting that hometown feeling also. And also during the holidays, say like around Thanksgiving, my folks will cook Thanksgiving dinner and invite the team over. So that was
and how many would show up?
Oh man, you could say we had a good 20 or 30 folks every year, man. So and we not only the team but their families as well. So that was one of the things that get the guys a chance to, like I say, get a good home cooked meal and just be able to come, like I said, come off campus and relax and just enjoy.
I'm envisioning that post Thanksgiving meal. You got football on the TVs, and how many of you guys are just passed out asleep?
Right.
You guys sleeping everywhere.
Yes.
Rob, we got Gary Rogers says to tell you hello.
Hey, what's up, Raj? Hype man. See, Gary, believe it or not, Gary now, we played against each other in Canada, in the Canadian League.
Very good. Very two doors.
Yeah.
Doors on doors crime right there. But we're going to get to that. I mean, I'm very intrigued about your Canadian experience. But Rob, when you had home games, could you fill all the ticket requests during your years? I mean, I know you had to beg, borrow, and steal tickets from everybody for that many folks.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, it was, man. There a lot of guys will come to the game and support, and as my friends came to campus, of course, the players got to know them as well and became close to them, and also, so it's just like a big family atmosphere. So I enjoyed having that. My friends coming, and my parents would come to every practice. And believe it or not, the guys would tell me, hey, if where your parents, if they weren't there yet, they would come ask me, because it's, again, my parents was a staple from my freshman year to my senior year there at practice, and then that was it, man. So it'd be over my head. They would notice them before me, and it was just like, okay, just like, hey, what you doing here? But they was there,
and maybe at the time, I don't know if you appreciated or liked the fact that they were there, but maybe over time you came to really appreciate it later on in life, about that dedication and how much they supported you.
Yeah, most definitely. And I would say that they come from a athletic family from my mother's side. It's just family is real big. They always taught me that. And just those guys being there is amazing, and I always say one of the greatest things that I was able to do is get a collegiate scholarship and not have to put that on my parents to pay for me to go to school. So that was one of the things that I really appreciated.
For us who get to sign those scholarships, that's such a memorable day. I'm sure you remember that like it was yesterday. I know I sure did.
Yeah.
Guys, I got Rob D in the house. He's out of Whites Creek, and we're just kicking it a little bit. We got the Northwestern athletics director in the house. We got D Greg in the house. Hey, Derek, hope you're doing well. I bet you guys had some battles back in the day.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, we did. D Greg, Bunk, Clarence Villian, those guys, man. Hey, they was awesome. I mean, just coming on the team, just being a freshman on the team, playing time, having those guys there just to guide the way for me. D Greg, Bunk, Corey, Carlos, Allen Young, Robbie Young, Aaron Smith, all those guys. Yeah, D Payne was a big Marcus Wilson, Mike Healy, man. You know, all those guys was there just to get some guidance, man. And it was awesome, man.
Yeah, those guys were all were 1 and 2 years behind me, and Doc and one donut. We were all in the quarterback room together, chopping it up. And we got Tyler Unzicker in the house. Hey, Tyler, good to see you, bud. I know you and Eric had a good time at the Bama State game or Bama A&M game last week. I know he's very appreciative. Those were awesome photos. Good on you, bud. Good on you. Rob,
and also, I want to give a shout out to Stump too. Stump was a big influence.
No. I don't even talk about Stump. Nobody talks about Stump on this program. No, Mark and I were in the same class. We rode back and forth campus to Bama for 4 straight. Yeah. I love Mark. He's awesome, dude. I'm sure he was. Yes. He was right there in the mix of it as well back in the day.
Yes, sir. That's a tough guy.
That's what I want to talk about. Some of the influence of the older guys who you just are mentioning. All those are just strong personalities. The fellas were and still are such a strong group of men and leaders and athletes. But as a younger guy coming onto a SEC program, even though it's in your backyard, it's still, you're playing with the big boys now. You're not the lead guy at White's Creek. You're now part of the pack, and you got to earn your mark again. So talk a little bit about, those practices can be pretty rough, particularly some of those guys who you just mentioned, because everybody's trying to earn their time.
Yeah.
Talk about that, the mentality that you had to create for yourself as a confident athlete, and showing that you not only did you belong there, but you were going to get you some playing time and start.
Well, I'll tell you, the first day of freshman camp, when the freshmen reported, and you know how Nashville summers are during that time, hot and humid. So let's just say that first day I fainted. I woke up.
Wait, and you're a local guy. You grew up with this.
But hey, that's just a different type, a different kind of a workout altogether. Yeah. But after that, just knowing, one, learning how to practice, to learning how, understanding that here I'm 18 years old. I'm one of these guys that's 20, 21 season and all that good stuff. And just being a freshman and having those guys on the defense side of the ball just kind of just motivate you, give you words of wisdom, just being in that room with Coach Case, Robbie Young, and just all those.
You had Gerald Collins, you had Allen Young, you had some athletes.
Oh yeah, man. Steve Mees, Mees was a big help too, man. Just having him back.
Your block off.
Mees, Justice back there, and then I had JB. So JB, Jeff Brother. So just having that knowledge back there help just navigate doing those up and down moments. And also just understanding too that we was a young team on that defense side of the ball. And just being out there on the field, just going through the growing pains together, and also just leaning on each other and spend those time together, man. It's just we saw something special.
Yeah,
we really did.
Now, Rob, I need an honest assessment. I know you never saw me back in the day, but just assume that I had some game. You had to go up against Joe P every day. What's your assessment of Joe P as the scout team QB?
Oh, Joe P was legit, live arm. But you remember, Joe P from Murfreesboro, so I knew about him. I knew about him just being here in Nashville. Very live arm. Joe P can throw that ball. He can sling it. He can sling it. Anytime he wants to, he can sling it.
Between he and Marcus, he and Doc, I don't know who could throw it further, but it was going a long way when they let go of the ball. That's for sure.
Yes. Most definitely.
Oh, we got another Commodore in the house. We got Kenny Simon has just joined us.
Oh, what's up, K. Simon?
We got all kind of Commodores here with Rob D. Rob, what was it about the sport that you really enjoyed?
I think just the team, being part of a team. You everybody come with different walks of life, and you coming together, you becoming a family, and you got one task, one goal. You need to go out there and execute it together. So when you're in unison to get the job done. So really that team, that camaraderie, that what I really enjoyed about the sport, along with the competition, because again, being out there and being a competitor, I'm a competitor. I want to win, but and also going out there every day, practice, game, giving your all, and just seeing those guys going to battle with you, because during my year, we didn't have a lot of depth. So just imagine, hey, special team, defense, you going, just constantly going and going and going, and you had to pull each other up. So just having those guys going to battle with you, that team atmosphere, that I really enjoy, and that competitive.
Playing in the defensive backfield, you're probably playing anywhere from 65 to 100 plays a game. And that's a lot of running for you guys. You're running 3 to 5 miles a game, probably
Oh,
collectively.
yeah.
But if that was the only thing you did during the games, you also had special team responsibilities over the years. And I watched, you may have watched that Colorado TCU game. The kid from Colorado, he played 110 or 120. I don't know if he can keep that up, but more power to him to be able to do what he
Right.
did. But how exhausted were you after games, just playing defense and special teams and not playing on the offensive side?
Oh, it's tremendously exhausted. I mean, you gotta think about that. You got, especially when those guys running those go routes on you constantly. I remember a game, and we was in Alabama. It was one of those hot days, and they just going go routes, go routes. Every 2 plays they roll in a new group of receivers.
Yeah.
But again, but we out there. But again, you just have to. It's It's part of it. You just got to put in your mind, hey, you out there, you're a competitor, you out there to compete, you got to do your job. So no matter what, when it's time to go to work, you got to go to work and do your job. You can't make excuses.
I think I know the answer to what I'm about to ask, but I have to ask every defensive back, do you prefer man to man or cover, some kind of a zone?
Oh, I'm a physical guy, so
Oh, look, I already knew the answer. What was it about some of those SEC caliber receivers? And I want to give a shout out to T Banks, who just joined us. What is it about that, Rob, about just man on man coverage and just knowing the guy on the other side of the ball, that he may be a little taller, he may or may not be a little faster, but you never know the play, but you got to figure out how to defend. What was it that, not from a physical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint, that you really just tried to capitalize on?
I think that's where film study come to play. And, when it comes to who you're playing against, certain studies, certain down a distance the plays like to run, receivers looking at who they put in the boundary, who they put to the field on these situations. Again, the splits. So it's all about, you gotta take that mental aspect is very important. Well, a lot of people might not understand, because you don't have to be the fastest person in the world, but if you understand the mental aspect of the game, down a distance, formation, split, who you covering, who they send in the boundary, who they send into the field, then you know how to put yourself in position to make the play. So saying that was one of the things that I appreciate about Case, that teaching that aspect of the game right there. So it's not only about just, okay, we're playing cover 3, but again, you got to understand the formation, personnel, splits, and all that good stuff. Then going against Doc, Bump, and those guys right there. I mean, hey, that says it all. Helping trying to that mental aspect of the game.
You're so right about studying film. There's nothing that can replace that. But oh, Rob, you got him coming out tonight for you. We got Corey Harris in the house.
What's up, Corey?
D's got him in the house. We got Coach Gary Shepard, one of yours and my coaches from back in the day, Coach Shep. Guys, we got Robert Davis out of Whites Creek. and we're just chopping it up a little bit. Where was your favorite stadium to play on the road?
Oh man, that's a good question.
Or did
You
you
know
have
what?
one? Did you have one?
I enjoyed going down to Death Valley, down to LSU.
Mhm.
Enjoyed that, and also I like. Well, I say this: Alabama, LSU, and Georgia, like
Boy,
that.
three tough places to play. But speaking
Yeah,
of favorite places, what was your favorite thing about Bell Buckle?
leaving.
I think to a man, that's what they say. Leave it.
Leaving.
I'll
but
only
but
ask one more question about Bell Buckle. Do you have any memories worth sharing, or we just want to move on to the next topic?
hey, I just remember that it rained so bad down there one time that coach brought a helicopter to try to help dry the field.
Mhm.
And we was thinking like, okay, we might have to maybe the day off, whatever, let the field get dry. But no, that didn't happen.
No,
We still
sir.
was out there messing around in the mud. I don't know how much execution we got done,
Uh-huh.
but let's just say we still had to go out there and just play around in the mud and come back the second practice with the same practice gear on. They didn't wash anything, so you can just imagine that.
No,
And then
thank you.
that sun came out.
Yeah.
The second practice.
And that humidity came out too, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yes,
Well,
yeah.
we don't have to stick with Bell Buckle. We move on to something much better. Did you enjoy campus life, or did you take the approach of kind of remaining in that what I call the football bubble? Meaning, did you get out and socialize? Were you in fraternity? Did you do anything across town at any of the other schools? Or did you really just kind of stay in that world of football during your years?
No, I enjoyed campus life. I got out and socialized. I think one of the big areas that we did was hung out in Surratt up there in the lunch in the cafeteria area. So you got a chance to really meet a lot of people there as well as your classmates. I think one unique thing um, about this, I guess, eye opening coming to Vanderbilt, me being an African American male and White Creek, a predominantly black school, coming there and you being the only African American in the classroom. So that there was an experience in itself, and having a instructor who not only, I'm probably looking like that, but also my other peers probably looking like, wow, as well. So I opened the experience for both people, but the structure just pointing it out and talking about it. And I think that kind of broke a lot of walls for my peers as well, and my classmates. So just developing relationships in those type of environments, my classroom, going out there, meeting people, hanging out with people, even the dorm rooms, man, you had your neighbors next in your, next door to you, those guys. So even my friends come to campus, they all knew everybody. So yeah, it was a great experience, man. So it didn't bother me none. And also I pledged as well. So I pledged Kappa Alpha Psi,
Mhm.
fraternity incorporated, and fraternity with Pitt's a part of, Cat's a part
I
of,
was
D.
going to say, no
Greg,
wonder all these guys are here for you tonight.
T. Banks, Joe P.
Y'all, you guys could
So
have a
so
chapter meeting, and I could just let you let
so
you guys
so
go.
so that was an experience in itself too, man. And being a part of a team, the football team, as you getting a chance to meet those guys and learning those guys and being around those guys, like I said, you develop a bond and a family, and then out, when you step outside of football and really seeing them outside of football, man, it was awesome. It was great. So, like I said, hang around with D. Greg, Bunk, Corey, Pat, and Cat. It's just been awesome, man.
Now, Kenny Simon says that none of that is true. You guys stayed in your rooms, you studied, and you slept, and you did what a good student would do. So he doesn't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, see, Kenny was the creeper. That's how he was. So
All right, I got to leave that because Kenny's already had his day, and I don't want to get him in trouble. But Rob, you get through the Watson Brown year and you transition to DiNardo, and they're completely different personalities, coaching styles. You were not a DiNardo recruit. And
Hmm.
sometimes when a new regime comes in, that's tough on the guys
Hmm.
who are already on the roster. Was that a tough transition for you and some of the other DBs, or did you guys was kind of smooth for you?
You know, I would say to me, I think it was more of a tough transition for Coach Donato because, and I say that because he didn't know the team, he didn't know really his players,
Mhm.
and you coming in to a situation that we haven't had a lot of success winning,
Yeah.
but again, you had a lot of your young guys playing
Mhm.
freshman year, sophomore year, and then here you come in, and
Yeah.
it's like you really didn't know who your team was. So I think it was really tough on him to coming in because we knew who we were. We knew that path that where we are, as far as hey, we over that hump, we right down that hill. This is the year that we're gonna just take that flag and go with it. But I think when Donato came in, he hit a couple of bumps because of he didn't trust us.
Yeah.
And again, this is my personal this my personal feeling. Somebody might be thinking different, but he didn't trust us, didn't trust his players, didn't trust his team. People he only trust were the people that he recruited.
Yeah.
So once he realized, like, wait a minute, there's some talent here, there's some guys here that actually can play. And I think once he realized that, then I think that's where some things started changing to the better
Mhm.
because again, it was just more him not trusting us because we knew where we were as a unit, as a team.
Yeah.
So I think that it was difficult for him coming in.
That's so interesting. That's such a great perspective that it you rarely, because you're on the team and you're looking at it from the inside out, not the outside in, you see
Hmm.
it that it was really the coach was really having to adapt to the 70, 80, 90 guys that were still on the roster when he came in. And it's so different. Maybe this isn't a very fair comparison, but in today's times, look what Dion did with the Colorado roster. I mean, that's an
Hmm.
extreme case where he got rid of almost everybody and kept a few and brought everybody with him, or recruited guys. But it was such a different time. I mean, did you ever think about transferring when you knew that Watson was on his way out and a new coach was coming in who you didn't know?
I did, and the reason why was tell you a story,
Mm-hmm.
and where it was a particular day when, and one thing too, with Coach Case, he kept Coach Case. That was a big help too. But one day we was on the field practicing, and the defense was winning that day against the offense, and the defense came out talking again. We're excited. We stopping the offense, and there was a play where the team offense ran a reverse, and we stopped them. And coach, and we were screaming reverse before the play started.
Mm-hmm.
Coach made a joke. Everybody laughed. He said, you got to stop saying that. I'll let you know when I'm running reverse like that. So 4 or 5 plays later, he ran reverse. We stopped him. I said, hey, coach, what happened to let us know we run a reverse? And he kicked me out of practice. So before I left, I looked at Bump. I looked at D Gray. I looked at my whole team. Even looked at Coach Case. And I walked off the field. It was close to the end of practice. I walked off the field. So that moment, after I got the shower, got dressed, if Rick Jordan had come in there and say, hey, coach want to talk to you, I would have left and been done with the program.
Wow. Wow. Well, what do
You
you
know,
remember? What happened the next day or two that really kept you on campus?
and that was the trust issue I was referring to, that Donato didn't know his player. That's why I say the transition was hard for him because
Yeah.
he didn't know the team as he should have known the team. And I say that because if you know your players, you can see what they're doing, their action, how they working on the field, and even how they move off the field, how they interact with the players. If you're really paying attention, or you can talk to your assistant coaches, because again, most of the time we spend with our position coaches.
Yeah.
So if you meet with your position coaches, then you should know, like, hey, ask your coaches about this particular guy, that particular guy, whatnot, and they'll tell you the lowdown on it.
Yeah.
But we had a talk, and I told him how I felt about that situation, what he did, what I thought, and that was it. And love him to death. We always wish him much success. You know, to this day, if I see him, you know, we'll speak. I have no ill will, but at that particular moment, it's just a thing where to answer your question, where I almost transfer at that particular moment.
Well, Robbie probably respected you as a man to be able to talk to him like that too. Because if you really think about, when we're 18, 19, and 20, most of us are just knuckleheads, and our emotions get to us. But you were able to have a man-to-man conversation that probably was wise beyond your years, probably very mature fella. Guys, I've got Rob D in the house. We got Doug Bradley, we got Andrew Marinus, we got Jason Tomachek. We got a whole bunch of
Oh, oh wow! What's up, Tom? Yeah, wow, man, that's awesome.
They turn out for you. Rob, let's talk a little bit about the transition from college ball to in professional ranks.
Sure.
Most guys are realistic that, and I mean me, know that we'll never play on the next level. Hard to, you see it. There's only very few who can have that privilege of playing, whether it's in Canada or the NFL or any other leagues. What about your journey? You clearly had the skill set to play professionally. What took you to Canada? Did you have an opportunity to try out in the NFL? Where were you along those lines?
So sure. So after college, signed on as a free agent with the Miami Dolphins. Mm-hmm. So that was Shula last year. Shula Marino was still there.
Wow.
So was camped with the Dolphins. Got released there, and when I got released there, then I ended up going up to British Columbia and going to Canada. Mm-hmm. So on that team, actually Tony Jackson was on that team at the time.
TJ
up in Canada, yeah. And believe it or not, Shelton and I both was in Miami at the same time after college. So, but my journey was Miami, then went to Canada, British Columbia. 2 years there. After that,
before you leave British Columbia, can you think of a bigger varied temperature between your extent in Miami, where we all know what it's like down there, but a guy from Nashville, how'd you get used to all that weather, or did you ever get used to it?
Well, you know, it was more or less getting used to that sun, because you know British Columbia is like again, it's that West Coast weather, man. The summertime is warm, it's nice. You got that breeze right there by the water. But it's just when you waking up and see that sun beating on you, you know, you're thinking it's 8 o'clock, but it's 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning.
That's true.
You can't go back to sleep. But it's a beautiful place, beautiful place. British Columbia is, man. So when I left there, I ended up going to Minnesota, signing up with Minnesota. Mm-hmm. So went to camp with those guys. Got released in a camp. Ended up going back to Canada at that time. Ended up going to Winnipeg. Went up to Winnipeg. So it's the Blue Bombers. Mm-hmm. After that season, got on with the NFL Europe. Ended up playing for the Rhine Fire over there in the teams in Düsseldorf, Germany. It was in '98, and we ended up winning the championship over there in the NFL Europe. So when I left there, came back to Nashville briefly. I was coaching at Weiss Creek, and then at that time, the Vikings called me back, and I'm going up, and I got on the practice roster with the Vikings doing that '98 season.
How old were you at that time? That second attempt with the Vikings, were you 20, 27, 28?
Yeah, I would say
not quite 30. You were younger than 30.
Mm-hmm. So I stayed with them when I went back up there. Was with those guys the rest of the year, into next year to camp. Then after camp, got released and then came back to Nashville. Then that's that transition. Okay, what do I want to do now? Type of thing.
Was that a tough time for you? Because as athletes, we rarely get to call our shot when we're going to retire.
Right, right,
A
right,
lot of guys,
right.
it's injury, or a lot of guys age out because their skill set just is diminished, or some of us just knew we weren't going to be able to go beyond college. But was that a tough transition for you mentally?
Yeah, I think it definitely was. I think anytime you leaving something you love doing, you work
You've
all
been
your
doing it
life to
since you
do,
were 5.
right? And especially leave on your own terms, it's one of those things where you sit back and you really have to digest and rethink what you want to do. What's your next move? What's your next step? Um, Luckily, those times were, especially I was in Minnesota during the summer months. I did some work with some companies up there. I always thought about, hey, let me get something, do something outside of football to get on my resume, because again, it can end at any point, any time. Saying that, but luckily after Minnesota, I came back here. I started teaching, coaching, and then that's when the Nashville Cats called. So I ended up playing arena ball with the Nashville Cats. And while I was with the Nashville Cats, I was coaching. I got a job up at Austin P University. I was coaching up there with Coach Smith.
And that's that's Coach Shepard's territory up there.
Yeah, yes. And so great. It was a great situation. Appreciate the opportunity Coach Smith gave me. And but then it got to a point where upper administration didn't like the fact that me playing with the Cats, playing up there, and I think and me, because I would leave practice, come up there and still do my duties, which that wasn't a problem, but it's just higher ups had some issues, and then at that point it came where a decision if I still wanted to coach or still play ball. I still had that bug in me. I want to play ball. Coach Smith offered me to be the defense coordinator. He's like, hey, I want you here, there, but he said, I know you still want to play, but think about it. And at that time, I ended up playing ball. At that time, I ended up getting another job opportunity with Cumberland University, and they was fine me playing arena ball and coaching. So I ended up leaving Officer P, at Cumberland University while I was playing arena ball.
And fast forward to today, I bet you still have that fire in you for at least one more play. At least one more.
Oh man. Hey, I'm good, man. Hey, these knees, snap, crackle, and popping.
Seen some better days, huh?
Yeah. But I tell you, just being around the game and coaching, going to the coaching road up, it was awesome. Just helping kids, teaching kids. I've loved that. And I always say the right opportunity, the opportunity coming right, I go back into doing that, man, because I enjoyed it tremendously.
Well, I know you benefited a whole bunch of ball players who you were able to coach up back in the day. So what gets you busy these days? What keeps you entertained or keeps you busy during the day?
Well, I got married. Been married for a year. And my wife, actually, she's an athletic trainer with Vanderbilt, the football team at Vanderbilt. Besides that, my current occupation, I work in benefits, deal with COBRA, flexible spending accounts, and health savings accounts. Work with a company called Equity.
No wonder you brought up Stump. Okay, I got you.
Now, so I do that. I was been back in Nashville now for about 3 years. I was living in Atlanta since 2012. When the pandemic hit, they closed our offices down, made us remote employees. So it's coming back home. But outside of that, I have 2 kids. I have a son that's he'll be 24 in October. We live in Houston. And I have a 9-year-old daughter living in Atlanta. So she's definitely keep me busy. Outside of that, man, that's about it. Trying to get these pounds off of me. I probably look more like a linebacker now than I probably do a defensive back.
Well, welcome to most of our worlds, Rob. Welcome to most of our world. Kenny Simon said he's still looking for you at that Home Depot in Atlanta, in that parking lot.
tell him we're coming. I'm coming.
We'll be there, Kenny. Well, Rob, we got just a couple more minutes, and I don't know if you've been to any of the games or come around Magoogan these days, but have you been able to watch Coach Lee's teams, and do you have any perspective on what you see?
Well, yes, I have. I think Coach Lee's doing a great job, the vision that he have, and really instilling it into his players and just to the program. And I'm happy that the school is backing that and doing what it needs to do to get the program where it needs to be. I think he's getting the right players in to make a difference, make a chance. That you can see he has some athletes out there. I just think his mindset is right. Definitely want to get us older guys back around the program and be a part. So I really appreciate that. And I just think that going to these first two games, you definitely can see the difference, the change. You can see where I think when coming to the Wake Forest game this week, it's going to be the telltale of where we are. This being a third game and as a unit, but I think he's right on course where he wanted to be. I think he is.
Well, they're 7-7 in the last 14 games, and although folks may have been disappointed in the close win against Hawaii, Hawaii's a much better team, much different team than we played a year ago. Now, the first half, in my opinion, of the Bama A&M game was nothing to remember, but they played like they should in the second half. Scored 35 points, just clicking on all cylinders. But I think you're right. I think this Wake Forest game is going to be a real litmus test because they are a very good program. And I think it'll really show us if we've got the mustard this year. I really do.
Yeah. And I think and I'm looking at it, of course, I look from the back end inward because I'm being a DB. And I think on the defense, that's still a weak spot, a weekend, just a back end. And I just think that's where I think those guys have to really stand up, and we're going to really see what they're about when it comes this year.
Well, I like number 2's game to Ricky Wright. I hope he's not hurt or banged up too bad. He had a great game against Hawaii, but I know he got banged up in the Bama A&M game. But I got 2 last questions for you, as coming from your DB hat.
Sure.
So, the game these days, with targeting and all of the attempts to get the major injuries away from the game, the type of hitting you guys were able to do in the 90s, a lot of that you can't do these days. So here's my question for you. If you're a DB and you're trying to play Power 5 ball right now, how do you execute the game that you want to play and still be able to be successful when you can't make those certain types of hits or movements anymore because it's a penalty immediately?
I think you still play hard. I mean, you still can play hard within the rules. I mean, because a lot of times now when you tackle, you always supposed to wrap up. Back in the day we talk, you butt with your head, you come up with your arms, you wrap up. Nowadays you can't butt with your head, but you still can wrap up. Yeah. So I think it's all about angles, where you put your head position, but you got to bring your arms as well. And just think when I look at the game, I think there's still, that's tackling one-on-one. You gotta see what you're hitting and grab it. And I think a lot of these guys, they don't see what they hit. They go with their head down and they're not grabbing. So I think overall, again, you still can play the game, just play it hard. And the type of game that I'm used to play, being a physical game, I still can take angles and butt up and just wrap up.
Guys, one of the best to play in the 90s for the Commodores and the SEC. We got Robert Davis has joined us tonight on Conversations with Commodores. Rob, I sure appreciate your time tonight and sharing your stories.
Hey, thanks for having me, B. I really appreciate it. And thanks for everybody who joined in. I really appreciate it as well. Look, hopefully everybody come out for homecoming this year. We all can catch up.
That's right. That's right. And guys, we've got Wake Forest this week. We got UNLV the following week, and I'll have a lot to say about that next week. But please keep coming back. Conversations with Commodores. We're just telling the oral history of the program, and we got characters and personalities every single week, including some fantastic athletes, including Robert Davis. You guys
Thank you. Thank you.
continue. Let's go. Anchor down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.